Welcome to the Beach House with Mo and Steph. Come on in, pour yourself a drink, and join us out on the deck as we inspire, encourage, and empower one another to live authentic, audacious, above-only lives. It's all right here at the Beach House. Welcome to the Beach House with Mo and Steph. How's everybody doing today?
I'm great.
I'm great.
We had a special guest drop into the Beach House today with us. I'm so excited. Her name is Miss Davina Newcomb, and she is my niece.
Hello, Davina. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I'm super excited to join you guys here at the Beach House. Waiting for my little pina colada to get passed over, but I don't know. I don't know that that's going to happen today, but thanks so much for having me.
Somebody was supposed to be in charge of the drinks.
Oh, yeah, well.
I don't know where they are.
Have water.
I think it was Zach. Zach was supposed to be in charge.
Zach?
Producer
Where
Zach.
are the cookies?
Producer Zach was supposed to have snacks and drinks, so we might have to fire him.
Might have to look for a new production company.
Yeah, and then he'll be hired back in an hour.
There you go.
He's like, Miss Steph, I got the drinks. It's like, you're back.
There you go. And the chocolate chip cookies.
It's awesome. Well, I was excited to ask Davina to be on the show because she has been doing some cool, amazing things. And I've just been, kicking back, watching from a distance, seeing what's going on. And I'm like, ooh, she's doing what? She's wow. And I'm looking at all her social media posts and everything. And I'm just like, whoa, this girl is like all over this place. So we need to find out what the heck is going on because she has literally started this thing in her mind and it has now become this cool thing. So, we have to know about it because
Inquiring minds.
I think it's going to
inspiring minds. Yeah, awesome. Well, it's so crazy. Let me tell you officially what I'm doing. So I launched about 2.5 years ago my own company called Illuminating Talent. And what I do is book celebrities for appearances where they can meet fans. So things like most people have heard of like San Diego Comic-Con. I don't book for San Diego Comic-Con, but along those lines, Comic-Cons around the globe want celebrities to come in so that they can meet fans, sign autographs, and take photos with them. And I book celebrities to make those kinds of appearances. So it's a super cool job. And like you said, Steph, it's something that I kind of just fell into, just kind of envisioned and imagined I could do. And
because you started off volunteering at these things, right?
I did. Yeah. So
wow.
I started off, let me see. So I have 3 daughters. My middle daughter, McKenna, when she was 11, she's now 26. When she was 11, she was very, very into Spider-Man. And I tried to find things for girls that were, kind of centered around Spider-Man. And it was really, really hard to find those things 15 years ago. And it just so happened that this Dallas Comic-Con was coming to town. And I thought, well, maybe this is a place we could find some Spider-Man merchandise for her. Mm. And from the minute I walked in the door, I was like, what is this place? How come nobody ever told me that this pop culture world existed? And I was immediately fascinated. I was like, I want to be involved in this. I want to know more because I've always felt a little not the same as people in my peer group. I couldn't ever feel like I felt in with women my age. And when I walked into this space, I suddenly felt like,
why was that though? What was the disconnect?
The disconnect for me, sometimes I say it's my level of immaturity. I hold really tight to the things that brought me joy as a child. And those things, continue to be relevant to me every day and continue to grow. So you can see on the wall behind me, this is just a little portion of what I call my fandoms. And they're the things that brought me joy as a child, that continue to bring me joy as an adult. And a lot of people lose that. They lose touch with
Yes.
those
Mhm.
things that were so special to them and just made them happy just because they were simple and honest and fun.
Like,
So,
we were always huge Disney fans, so
right. Yeah.
not
And
a whole
some
lot of
people don't get
people,
that.
hung with that. But
Yeah.
we were Disney every chance we could get.
Yes,
Yep.
I mean,
exactly.
I
And
still have my Minnie Mouse on right now.
I love it. Yeah. I don't have my Disney on me right now, but it's definitely on the wall. There's a ton of Disney stuff on the wall, but yeah,
So
I
that
think that's
that youthfulness of wanting to just hang on to things that are enjoyable and
Happiness.
fun.
yeah,
It's like, why do we have to all of a sudden get older and everything is just so serious? And
right.
all we can do is focus on work and
Yep.
things that just make you
Suck your
miserable.
life away.
They
Yeah.
just make you, yeah, they make you miserable,
They
and
do.
you become the minority when you don't want to focus on that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, maybe a little bit of a Peter Pan complex. Like, I don't want to grow up, but also
Not if it means that.
it's right. And it's inevitable though, right? That you've got to grow up and you do have to get out into the adult world. So
It's like,
stepping into
I
that
think
space.
you can do that. You can grow up, you can be an adult, but you don't have to lose your sense of wonder and joy.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And it's hard. It is hard in day-to-day life to find that like balance. Like, how can I still enjoy the simple things while I'm working hard and doing a 9 to 5 and trying to pay the bills? How can I still hold on to that sense of wonder and that simple sense of joy? How can I hold on to that? And I think in my friend group, in my circle, everyone, of course, we were all at that time, raising kids, and we were PTA presidents, and we were, running kids to soccer class and those sorts of things. But always, always, I was the one who would say, let's get together and have a sleepover at my house. And we're going to just watch our favorite movies, and we're going to eat a bunch of junk food and
Yes.
just revel in, immaturity, I guess. And I was the leader of that. I was the one who was always kind of encouraging and wanting people to do that. And then other people I would meet at my regular 9 to 5 job would say, "You're an adult. Like, why are you having a sleepover? Like, that's
That's
it's kind of
Is it
yeah.
fun?
It's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun." But so from coming into that pop culture convention space, I suddenly saw a bunch of people my age that were reveling in the things that they loved as children. And I just wanted to be a part of it. So, like Steph said, I started volunteering. I was at a door. I joke sometimes that at my first shift, they said, "Okay, you want to volunteer for the show? You're going to stand here at the door for 8 hours and you're going to tell people, 'Welcome to Dallas Comic Con.'" And so
Wow.
like, let's go.
I was like, yeah,
Do it.
cool. Let's go. I love customer service. I
They
love
started you in the mailroom.
yes. Like, that's literally what I did. I was like, welcome to Dallas Comic Con. Come on in, come on in. Got to be like 5 o'clock in the evening. Show's going to close like 7 or 8. So I went to the coordinator at that time and I said, "Hey," I said, "there's not really anybody coming in. Do you have something else that you would like me to do?" And she said, "Yes." "Go back to that same door and tell people goodbye and thank you for coming." And so I did. But I did it with a smile. I had joy in my heart because I was seeing all of these people coming in that were, just smiling ear to ear themselves. They were coming in and meeting, Hollywood heroes, people that they had seen in television and movies. They were buying comic books, they were buying toys, and they're all, fully fledged adults. But there was so much joy in being in this space. And so as soon as the show was over, I was like, I want more. Like, what can I do at the next show? And kind of fast forward, things took off for me where I became a leader in the space. I started taking on different roles, and then I started getting invited to other shows as a paid
Oh, nice.
contractor. So shows started flying me in to come help with staffing or to come help with their programming, to come help with logistics, whatever they needed. I started to become kind of this go-to person in the space, which was, fun. It was a hobby. It was something that I enjoyed, but then gradually it went from being a volunteer to being paid. And after several years of doing that,
I think that's important though that you're mentioning that, because you didn't just go from A to Z.
right.
And a lot of people think, this is what I want to do, so I'm just gonna go there and I'm gonna get a job, and next thing you know, I'm gonna be doing this and that.
Right.
But you have to be willing to come in and do whatever is necessary and build up a reputation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things that I've always said, even before I entered into this world, as a manager or as a leader, in other jobs that I've had, I've always said you have to be willing to take out the trash. You have to be willing to sweep the floors. You have to be willing to do all of it to be a great leader and build a great business. Because I have to understand now that I run my own business, what I'm asking my employees to do. And I have to be willing to do it alongside of them. But it wasn't this entire journey. Like, it's just so fascinating to me sometimes because it wasn't anything I ever planned out for myself. It just kind of happened because I just wanted to do those things that brought me joy. And, after many years of doing this, I'm working with celebrities from a variety of like television shows and movies, some voice actors and things like that. And I had a couple of celebrities that pulled me aside when they saw me in the space and they said, Davina, you're super passionate. You're really professional. How come you're not representing talent? And I said, well, the first couple of times I was like, that doesn't appeal to me. I don't want to be sitting at a desk managing people. I want to be in the mix with the fans. I like the energy. I like the excitement. And, one celebrity was like, hold on, my manager's not even here. My manager doesn't sit at this desk with me, right? They do all the legwork behind the scenes. They're working from home. And I was like, interesting. So I mentioned it to my husband and he was like, yeah, you would be great. You should do it. And so I was like, okay, let me think a little bit more, because again, it wasn't anything I had considered for myself. Yeah, it just kind of was like developing and going along. And I thought all of a sudden, like, my sister runs her own company and she's done it for many years. And she is a booking agent, but kind of in the health and wellness realm. So I said, let me call Ava. Let me just kind of get some insight from her and see what she thinks as far as if this is feasible, if this makes sense. And as soon as I called my sister and said, this is what I'm thinking, she said, we're doing it. She was like, yeah, she's like, nice. Yeah. She was like, it makes so much sense. It's something you love. It's something you're passionate about. She's like, I have the tools, I have the infrastructure already set up for my business, and we'll just move it over. And that's exactly what we did. It was just a phenomenal chain of events. And, to kind of like what Stephanie was mentioning earlier too, that it wasn't something I could just fall into, right? I had to understand the industry. I had to understand the business. I had to understand what the needs of not only the celebrities were, but the promoters who put on these events and the fans coming into the events. So because of all this groundwork that I had laid, I had everything I needed when it was time for this opportunity to come. And had I tried to just, 14 years ago say, oh, I'm going to be a booking agent, one, I wouldn't have had any idea what a booking agent was. I wouldn't have known what I needed to do for my clients. I wouldn't have known what I needed to ask for when I negotiate contracts. So, it was just this random journey, this random kind of jumping in and trying new things and being up for an adventure, and then building without realizing I was building towards something really, I think it's pretty amazing, what I've been able to get to now. So that's a little bit.
I think it's pretty amazing though to take that that stance of taking an adventure, because a lot of times people will get an idea in their head and it's like, okay, I have to just go straight there. And you have no clue as to how it's going to look or what it's going to look like. And you end up talking yourself out of it because of the things that you don't know. But
Right.
when you get curious about something and you just follow your passion for it, you step into it one step at a time. And then before you know it, you're walking in it and you don't even realize when it happened, but you're in it.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Um, through going to the different events over the time, and volunteering and doing all that. And then you decided to, as you were saying, jump into, the big pool with your sister and move she helped you move everything over to a business. Did you realize that you're like, I didn't realize I had all these connections? Because you had developed them all those years and you did you have that like eureka like that?
I did. And it was kind of surreal because my sister's, she's younger, but she's got a degree in business management. Like I said, she's been hustling for years with her business. And so she kind of laid out this roadmap for me. And she's like, okay, we need to gather, 10 like influential contacts in this industry. Can you secure 10 contacts? And I was like, well, yeah, here's 20. Here's 20 of the top people in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I had, for some of the biggest shows in the world, I have personal phone numbers because I've been brought in and contracted for these people at their shows. I have relationships with people in some of the biggest conventions literally in the world. And
which all started because you were willing to stand at the door and
yes,
say welcome.
Exactly, because I stood at the door and welcome people and yeah, it's sometimes a little surreal, honestly, to look at the path and all the things that happened. For me, partially just wanting to be out there doing customer service and finding my own joy in things, and following that passion, yeah, but not with no intention myself of making it into a true career. Because again, when I started, it was all volunteer.
Yeah.
All volunteer.
And it's amazing how when you look down the line, you're like, man, the Lord was just lining it up, man. And you're just like, I didn't even recognize it. And we were talking about that on our last podcast, how God, when you step out on that trust, and it's a scary spot to be in, he's just already lined stuff up and you didn't even know it was already mapped out.
Yeah. So it's interesting for sure. I think of things like going back to the beginning of my journey, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about how things kind of coalesced once Ava and I got together and decided to launch this business. But when I first stepped into the convention space, obviously at that time, I was married and I had 3 daughters and this kind of set life that I was leading. And it was, for all intents and purposes, it was pretty ideal. I was a mom, I was raising kids, I was the PTA president, I was part of the dance guild.
Wow, you're for real.
Yeah. there were all of these things going on, but a big part of who I wasn't kind of being expressed in that situation. I wasn't fully accepted. I didn't feel fully accepted for who I was, for that kind of nerdiness, that kind of that little bit of immaturity, which, again, for me is fun, and it's a deep part of who I am. Mm-hmm. And so along the way, as I started doing these shows, I kind of began to grow in myself and find strength and confidence in accepting myself for who I was 100%.
Yes.
And not feeling like
that you're crazy or something's like, no, I like this.
Yeah.
And it's okay for me to like it.
It's okay for me to like this. Yeah. It's not something to be poked fun of, or, it's something for me to embrace because it felt like a core part of who I am. So,
and we're always growing and evolving And I think that's the thing with so many people, they get stuck in this rut. And it's like there's this big part of you that is wanting and longing for something more, but you're like, well, no, I can't leave this space.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, and
it takes bravery to step out of that and say, I want more. I want something different.
Yeah. It's terrifying for sure, because you've, especially if you've, been in a situation, whether it's a relationship or work or whatever you're in, when you've been there for 20 years and this is what you know day to day, even if you feel something missing or you have a longing for something else, it's terrifying to get to the place where you can take that step.
And that fear is one of the things that keeps people from following after their dreams and their passions, because they don't know how to get to what's on the other side of that fear. And sometimes we just have to step out and just jump off the ledge, even when we don't even know what it's going to look like. But I have to do this because it's burning so big inside.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a pretty good way to put what happened to me. Is I literally felt like I jumped off a ledge. Like, it was kind of that I was,
because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta do it.
I got to do it. I mean, and you know what, you have to kind of sometimes get to that point where you have to face your fear and say, if I don't take this chance, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so many people won't do that though, because the fear is just too gripping.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, even now, I struggle a lot with really trying to holding myself to a really high standard as far as what is successful. And so I'm always fearful of failure. I'm fearful of looking like a fool to other people. And
that imposter syndrome.
Oh my gosh, so much imposter syndrome. But part of my growth over the last few years has really been understanding that it is okay if I fail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have to be concerned about looking like a fool to certain people if I'm living honestly, if I'm working hard at what I'm doing and putting my best efforts forward. If someone else thinks I look foolish, that's a reflection of them.
Because we can only be responsible for ourselves.
Right.
And so when a lot of people are dealing with that imposter syndrome and worried about failure, what if we just got to a place where we could just be curious with our life and say, well, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. And I might look a little stupid, but what if I go through that and on the other side, there's something amazing?
Right.
Could I look stupid for a little bit? Is it really going to kill me? I don't think so.
It's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you.
And you're stepping out on the trust.
Foolish.
Yeah.
What are some of the things, give me maybe 3 things, because I know it's deep, of things that you really have to step out on that trust level? Okay, I'm doing this. I don't care what I look like. I because after a while, come on, people, you get to a point where you're like, F people.
Well, I know,
I gotta get stuff done, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
right.
So it's what are some little nuggets that you
where I had to really step out?
Yeah, where you step that toe out there.
Yeah. Well, so the first big one for me was the first time I called a promoter and had to say, I'm a booking agent.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That was the first one, because
you
again,
have to step into that identity. It's like, okay.
Yeah. That's it.
It's
am I really?
I don't feel like a booking agent, but I'm saying I'm a booking agent.
I'm saying I'm a booking agent. I've never booked anybody, but I'm saying I'm a booking agent.
But you're saying it. Exactly.
Yeah. So that was my first big hurdle, was calling a promoter and saying, I'm a booking agent and I'd like to get my client into your show. So that was the first one. And then
that's a big one. That's a big one.
It's a big one.
Okay. Who Can you tell us who the person was?
Yeah. So my very
okay.
first client is an actor. His name is Dave Sheridan. And I don't know if you're familiar with so they did these kind of like there's a series of horror movies, right, called Scream. So there's Scream and Scream
right.
2 and Scream 3. And then the Wayans brothers did like a spoof of it called Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so Dave Sheridan is the star of Scary Movie. He plays Officer Doofy, and he's also the killer. If you haven't seen it,
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's
spoiler. But
Spoiler
Dave
alert.
Sheridan was my first client. And so I called this show in Albuquerque and, said, I'm a booking agent for Dave Sheridan, try to say it as confidently as possible while inside I'm sweating and shaking going, he's going to know I'm not, but really I am.
How's he gonna know? But you thought he knew. He didn't know.
You're just a mom.
You're Davina sitting in the kitchen at your table.
Exactly. And then that happens all the time. That's usually me. I'm sitting at my table making calls. But so that was number one. So then number two was right kind of tied into that. And on the heels of that is I had his first appearance less than 6 weeks later. And so then I had to show up at this pop culture convention with thousands of people and put my celebrity at a table signing autographs and present myself as his booking agent in front of people who have known me for years in this industry and people who've never seen me before. So then it became
you just stand at the table like a security guard or how? Because you knew how to set it up because you did that voluntarily, like set up things, right?
Yes.
So you knew how to do that part. But do you like just stand by him like, no, you need to get out of here. Okay.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
That's kind of what it is. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm the agent.
Come forward. Yep, it's going to be $60.
You
want to get your autograph? $60. They take the cash, sign this photo. It's a big business. It's a big business.
Snap-a-doo. Okay.
But then presenting myself, in the space now as a booking agent, and all of your relationships kind of shift a little bit. For me personally, they don't, because I believe in treating everyone with the same level of respect. So it never mattered to me if someone was a promoter of a show or was the CEO of a large company or it was the volunteer at the door. I saw them all and treat them always with the same level of respect. But the shift was how other agents looked at me now that I was no longer just a volunteer or someone on staff. I was now their peer. And so all those engagements and everything became very different. And I had to, there were times when people wanted to challenge me, or, not everyone respects people regardless of where they fall in the business hierarchy. And so there were agents who kind of wanted to press in on me a little bit, and I had to be confident, at least on the outside.
You gotta put on the big girl pants.
Yeah, put on my big girl pants.
Show them who you are.
Yes, all this, all this knowledge that I had accumulated just kind of started coming out of me as people tried to challenge me in my role. And it was never anything like people coming up and saying, "You're not a booking agent." It was just more like an attitude, a demeanor, that they could kind of move things around on me, and I wasn't going to say anything because
it's like, no, we're not doing that.
So that was kind of the second really big thing where I kind of had to not just dip my toe in, but kind of submerge myself quite a bit. But that was a huge step.
Yeah, because you have to learn how to, like you said, you have to learn how to be a leader over your peers. These people are the same age as you, So it's learning how to like lead in your same pool.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to listen to books, read books and stuff. Like, what made you what did you grab onto to okay, I got to get this skill down? What is it? Like, I got to be.
Really, for me, the biggest skill that I had to grab onto is just contract negotiation, because I'd never really done contract negotiations, and I have to negotiate what the appearances are going to look like. So, if we're going to be covering flights in a hotel, and we're going to be covering a per diem, and we're going to cover a guarantee, those were things that I hadn't really had direct access to in all my years at the show. So that was the one thing that I had to really dig into, and figure out, what do the contracts look like? What should I be asking for? And that was definitely, there was a bit of a process in that. I had a show.
Definitely a learning curve.
Yeah, definitely. I had, a show that I booked, and I didn't have a contingency in there for if the promoter decided just to cancel the appearance. And so, that was my first big learn. The promoter didn't cancel, but he threatened to cancel. And the first thing he said was, "Oh, there's nothing in the contract for that." So I said, hold on a second, make my notes, adjust.
Let me put it in right now.
That goes right there into my
have
contract.
to get paid whether you show or not.
Exactly. So that's definitely been a process for me, is like step by step learning, where people might try to get one over on you, where they may try to take advantage of someone who's new in the business, and where I was doing myself a disservice and my clients a disservice if I didn't look at every aspect of a contract. So
did you have a person too? Did you have a person that you went to, or like a couple of people that you could ask those questions? Like, you're not by yourself. Like, did you reach out to some people?
Yeah, I did. So I had initially some sample contracts from actual appearances that I could kind of go through and get the gist myself. And then I have a friend of the family who is a business attorney. And so once I kind of compiled what I wanted in my contract, I sent it over and said, "Can you have a look at this and, just verify the legality of it, and let me know if there's anything you see that's missing." And then they evaluated it and gave me a couple of pointers, like, maybe you want to add something in there about this. And then I rewrote those few paragraphs, and then that's kind of been my standard going forward.
Oh, nice.
So, so it's good. And then I had a really big client. My biggest client to date was last November, and I have a social media influencer who's pretty well known. She's kind of runs her own social media empire. She's a reality star, a musician, and I got her booked for her first ever appearance at a show. And that, it was pretty awesome. That contract came through her talent management company, though. So it was a little bit different. I negotiated the deal, and then submitted the terms to them, and they actually submitted the contract to me to then get to the promoter to get signed off on. So it was a little bit different, but it was my first foray into kind of really big talent management. To kind of give you an idea, most of my appearances, they may make between $1,500 to $30,000 for an appearance. And this contract was $100,000 contract for her.
That was a little different.
A little different, yeah. And so that was kind of my first, like, really big ticket, dealing with Hollywood management and looking at what they include in their contracts, which is obviously more in depth, because they're kind of protecting this empire, if you will, this empire. And so then to be on site with that celebrity and having to face promoters who wanted to challenge the legality of that contract was, a whole nother experience for me. But that, coming 2 years into running my own business and being a booking agent, which now I can say confidently, I'm a celebrity booking agent. It was much easier for me to hold my own and go toe to toe and say, "Look, this is what it is. You need to fulfill your end of the commitment. We're not afraid to go to litigation if we need to, but we would rather handle it in-house." And I was extremely proud of myself for coming off of that one and making the paycheck and getting everything done. So.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome, going from this place of just being a fan to going to a place of, hey, I'm in charge of this now. And I know that there are plenty of obstacles that you've faced along the way and that you've had to overcome. And I'm sure they've been pretty scary. Again, that's where a lot of people will drop off because something comes up to challenge them. So,
Yeah.
what are some of the challenges that you've had to deal with that you've had to just, okay, yeah, I'm terrified, but I gotta do this in order for me to
do it.
press through.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of really big challenges that I face in the business. First of all, I try never to equate anything to being a woman or being a woman of color causing barriers to what I want to do.
Although those are very real.
They are very real, but I try not to
concentrate on that.
Concentrate on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in the pop culture convention world, most of the promoters and most of the agents are kind of the gatekeepers of this sci-fi fandom. So the majority of agents and promoters are 50 to 60-year-old white men that love Star Wars or Star Trek.
Okay.
So, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay. So it's challenging for me to come in when their promoters are used to working with another man who's just a fan of Star Wars or Star Trek and has built their agency. And then to meet me, who's kind of the exact opposite of that, but I am still a fan. I'm still passionate about the business, but I think sometimes that's an obstacle for them to, first of all, take me as serious, maybe, that they don't know my level of interest in this pop culture community. And then I think that sometimes because I have made a conscious choice to present myself different than other agents that I know, I try to be extremely professional in what I do. I try to be very fair, transparent, approachable. And, there are a number of other agents that are very standoffish and very hard to approach for promoters. And because I try to do those things differently, I think sometimes they maybe don't know how to take me. So they're kind of a little fearful that I'm going to be too professional and too by the book for them to want to work with me. They kind of want somebody that's going to just fly off the cuff, and we're not going to do everything on paper. Some of the promoters just want to have a verbal agreement over the phone, and I'm like, no.
Like, we just want a handshake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's sometimes an obstacle, but or an opportunity. Let me say that those are my opportunities.
In the good boy club thing, and then you're a female or whatever, you're young, you're coming with like new ideas. You're not coming in on the coattails of like stuff that's already existed and tradition. So you're kind of bumping their tradition.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a matter of being you.
It's just being me, right? Exactly. Yeah. So, but I am finding success for sure. Like for only being in business, at this point, 2.5 years, I am finding immense success. There are agents that have been doing this 5 or 10 years that haven't signed a $100,000 contract. And I've already done that. So I'm finding huge success. So I'm considering these obstacles are really my opportunity to get in. So I'm doing a lot. One of the things that's going to hold people back on starting a business is obviously there's no money coming in at the beginning. And I have to invest in my business and in myself. So I have,
speak it.
that is one of the biggest things that I see people missing it on, is they're afraid to spend and invest. And it's like, you have to.
You have to. Yeah. And the thing that's paying off for me is getting in front of the promoters where I want to have my clients booked, not just making a phone call or sending an email, but flying to their show, getting into their environment and saying, hey, I'm Davina, I'm a booking agent, and I would really love to bring clients to your show next year. Can we talk? And the success I'm finding,
Davina money.
it's me paying. I'm flying out there, meet these promoters. But then what I'm finding is once they meet me and they're like, oh, she's legit. Like she is this person that she says she is. She is honest and transparent. She is friendly, and she is wanting to make this the best show for everyone involved.
Let's do business with her.
Let's do business. They bring me out for a show, and then they book me again. So now I have shows that welcome me back. That, the two appearances I just had in March and April, one in Syracuse, New York, and one in Scotland, in Edinburgh. Glasgow. Both have already booked my clients for next year. So
wow, nice.
and then that word spreads among promoters. Like, yeah, Davina's great to work with. She's honest. She's fair. She's gonna, she's not gonna make it a challenge for you to have her in the building. And that's paying off for me.
She's not going to be a problem person.
Yeah, I'm not a problem person. You're not going to walk all over me, but I'm not going to cause problems. I'm just here to make sure that the fans have a good time, that my clients are looked after, and that your show is successful. So it's definitely paying off. Now, also, let me tell you that as part of what I'm doing as a booking agent, I had a vision of creating these intimate fan experiences where we could bring in kind of top Hollywood talent into an intimate environment where fans could pay for a ticket, come in, maybe have dinner, cocktails, a little meet and greet, still get their autograph or their photo with the celebrity. But they were be very exclusive events.
They don't have to fight 2,500 people.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to
VIP club.
Yeah, exactly. And so I have been working on this for the last year and a half, 2 years also, pretty much since I launched the agency. This was the direction I wanted to go. And was able to actually get someone who has known me through working at these different shows, saw what I was doing, how I did my work, and said they wanted to invest in my vision. So nice. I have my first celebrity VIP
coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up October 18th in Nashville. We have partnership with City Winery in Nashville. They're hosting the dinner. We have an actor, Dennis Quaid. He's been in the industry since childhood. He actually has a Christian album out. He's a singer. He's just phenomenal person to have for our first event. So we're really excited, but we have this investor that came in and said,
he's
look,
the second Parent Trap dad.
The second Parent Trap dad. Yes. Yours, Mine, and Ours. The Rookie.
Those are my favorites.
Yeah.
Like everybody loves Dennis. Come on, man.
Yeah,
so get your tickets for that, everybody.
Get your tickets for that. Yeah, the tickets for right now, we're selling just the VIP tickets. We're on my website, illuminatingtalent.com, and you can scroll down. You can see everything about the dinner with Dennis, and then
that's going to be awesome.
After, I'm so thrilled, and it's just kind of crazy to have this vision, this dream of something that could happen, and then really I got there just by continuing to be me and be who I am in the space that I love, being good to people, no matter who they were. And as luck would have it, someone who I was kind to and shared my passion with just happened to be an investor who wanted to support me. So
nice.
Yeah, kind of an amazing development, but really, really excited and can't wait to see. And we're gonna keep looking forward.
It just shows what you can do when you get a dream in your heart and you choose to follow it no matter what happens. Because, whatever we're doing, it's not going to come easy. We're going to have to make some hard choices. We're going to have trials. We're going to have challenges. But it's if you just keep going, you're going to get there eventually.
Yeah. You're
going to get there.
Yeah. Just keep pushing. And and you got to be, willing to take a chance. Again, what's the worst that could happen? you've got to be willing to put yourself out there. I have to tell myself daily, it's okay to fail. It is
It
okay to fail,
is.
but just keep putting myself
It
out
is
there,
okay.
and you never know
Because
what.
it's never really failing. We're
Right.
just learning.
That's it right there.
When we can get over the fact that it's not failing, it's just learning.
It's
Yeah.
I'm
moving.
learning something new.
How do you fail if you're moving forward?
Yeah.
You fail because when you fall, you stop, right? When you fall down, you stop.
Right.
And you nurse it and you whatever. That's because you stopped.
No, you're moving
You
forward.
can't fail if you're moving forward.
Okay. I'm just learning then. It's okay for me to
learning.
learn.
It's just learning.
You're
because,
just launching.
What did I learn? What did I learn from this not working out?
Right.
Okay, now I can take that into this new situation, and I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to do it this way. So it's never a bad thing. In fact, it's just education.
Ladies are very wise.
We're all just in the classroom, and everything is just education.
Yeah.
And we make those tough decisions. We cannot be afraid to make tough decisions.
To raise your hand, right? To raise your hand in class
and
answer the question.
Raise your hand.
You might not get it right, but at least you did it.
At least you tried.
Yeah. Right.
And
right.
it's like, as long as you're trying, then there's opportunity for you to score something bigger.
Right.
But when you stop trying, it's over.
It's over.
It is over. And it's like, we're just constantly learning. And if we can just take that attitude of, I'm in the classroom, I'm learning every day, and everything that happens is happening for me and not to me.
Okay, I'm going to take that little nugget and put it in my pocket, because thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
Yeah.
It's not happening to you. It's happening for you, because if I'm on the ball, I'm going to learn something from it.
Right.
And it's going to take me to the next level.
Yeah.
And your company, from what you're saying, as far as people wise, just you being who you are, and that love in your heart, and that Jesus light in your heart, and just illuminating that's not something that is a normal piece in that field. So that alone should keep you going.
Your light shine.
It doesn't matter what people think, because it's all about what your daddy thinks.
Right.
And what he has you out there doing. You're shining your light just by you walking in the building. Yeah, so to say, hey, it's yours. I'm shining it. Let's go. And you don't ever worry about what other people think, because you're busting it out, girl.
I am.
I'm so proud.
She's a baller.
She's a baller.
She's a baller.
I know, it's crazy. It's just it's amazing, and I'm super thankful for the opportunities, and I'm thankful that I take the chances. It's unbelievable sometimes.
Now, I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Nobody said it was going to be easy, though.
Right.
But as long as we keep going.
Uh-oh.
She didn't
be frozen.
She didn't keep going.
She's frozen. She be freezed. Freezed. Oh no. So you were saying you had a challenge, like you were married, and then
that's okay.
There you are.
Yeah, she caught up.
Froze.
You froze.
Did I froze?
Yeah.
You was froze.
Did I
freeze? Where did I freeze at?
I don't know. You just were like, you asking me this question.
where I was saying that it's like we all have our share of hard times and challenges and choices that we have to make. And it's like, hey, not everybody's going to agree with them. Not everybody's going to think you're doing the right thing. Not everybody's going to like what you're doing, but it's like, it's not about them.
Right.
It's about me.
Yeah.
And what
and your journey.
Yes.
Your journey.
Yep.
And you're saying you were married, and then, because like you said, it was a big challenge. So what happened when you did decide, I'm jumping?
I'm jumping.
Yeah,
I'm jumping.
I'm jumping. It was one of those things where it was kind of like a slow build and a long time coming for me to jump. And when it happened, I very firmly felt that it had to happen, or I was not mentally in a really good place. I was
Right.
very, very broken inside. And so when I made the jump out, honestly, the first thing was this huge wave of relief when
Mm.
I finally was able to say, yes, I want a divorce. I felt this weight of trying to live up to expectations. I felt this weight of trying to be happy on the outside for everyone else. I was trying to, put out this, I've got it all together. I'm doing all the right things. I just felt the relief from the weight of all of that kind of finally letting go. And then kind of having a moment to take a deep breath and say, okay, now what comes next? And really, who am I? Because,
There it is.
yeah, I needed to find out who I really was, because what I was putting out and what I was trying to accomplish was living up to an image that wasn't fully me. So,
I felt this. Whoa.
What happened?
Did my electricity go out? I don't know.
Ah!
I think they're doing things with us. I'm
Oh,
hearing
no.
You moved from California. That's all I gotta say.
It all comes back to California.
But I recognize that too, because I felt the same way, after my husband passed.
Mhm.
It's like, who am I? This is how I've lived for all this time, and it's like, I don't even know that I want that anymore.
Mhm.
I don't even know if that's the person that I still am. So how do I go to where I feel like I belong now? And it doesn't look the same as everybody thought it looked before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's brave.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's brave. And like I said before, it's growth. It's, we have to continue to grow. And, as we get older, we gain knowledge that we didn't have when we were 22 or 23. And, I gained knowledge I didn't have when I was 30. Now I'm 53.
Yeah.
And all of those
And
things.
hopefully, we grow. And if we're in a relationship, hopefully we grow together. It doesn't always happen,
Right.
but hopefully we grow together. But if we don't, we still got to keep growing. If
Right.
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop.
we're staying
Yeah.
the same over 20 years, that is not good.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
That is not good.
Yeah.
We
Exactly.
have to evolve.
Yes.
And when you were going through this part where you decided to get a divorce and make some changes, you had 3 daughters?
I did. Yes.
3 little ones?
Yeah. I had 3 daughters. And that was challenging as well. I mean, all of it, I know I had to make what probably appeared to be a very selfish decision.
Yeah. And sometimes we got to do that.
Sometimes you have to do that. And I couldn't explain really, super emotional. I couldn't really explain to them, especially at that time.
Yeah.
Because for me, I was truly broken. I was depressed, to the point of feeling that I could not live in that life anymore.
Yeah. I remember, when I talked to you, I'm like, well, tell me what is going on.
Yeah.
And after I listened to you, I said, well, if this is what you feel that you need to do, then you need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was, it was rough. I mean, and it's been a journey. Thankfully, I had a very strong bond with my daughters. And we have been able to, as they've grown into adulthood, now they're 29, 26, and 23.
They understand now.
Yeah. We got to a place as they got older where I could be a little bit more honest, because I didn't want to damage
you can't tell
their relationship with their dad. Yeah. And so
you can't say that.
Yeah.
Because Monique had to go through the same thing with making a choice for herself.
Right.
Yeah. And I told my kids, I told them, look, blame me. I'll take the hit or whatever, because they were too young to understand what you're saying. Like, if I don't do this, there will be no more Monique. There will be no more Davina. Like, there won't be. So and I had to do what God called me to do. And so I was like, you know what? I'll take the hit.
Yeah.
I'll be the adult and take the hit.
Right.
And eventually the Lord will start revealing as they get older. I don't have to fight my battles, right? The Lord says, you don't have to fight. I will take care of it. Right. So
I'll say I'll show what happened later.
I'll show, And so as they get older and they start getting married and they start having kids and they start maturing, then they're like, that's what and I don't have to say anything.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's, it's just
stepping back and letting the Lord take that battle. That's a big step.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Because we want to defend.
Yeah. You want to be like, hang on a second. I got something to tell you.
This is not what it really was. And the Lord's like, nope. Don't say nothing.
Say a word.
I want you to handle it this way. I want you to, and people are like, you did what? You gave what? Everything, all the moves are like not what the world would do.
Right.
But that's what Jesus would do, because it's going to be completely opposite. And he's like, but I'm going to take this somewhere so that when they do get 20 something, 20, whatever, it's going to be sweet. It's going to be sweet. It's not going to be damaged.
Right.
And unnecessary damage to them and their personality and who they are.
Yeah.
They'll still have me. They'll still be walking with me because they watched you. And that
I think it's so important, though, for people to hear other people say it wasn't just, sparkles and glitter for me. I had to fight to get to this place.
Yeah.
But I'm here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It didn't just show up like, hey, I made a decision to follow my dream. And
no.
And now I have a company, and I
know it definitely.
Right.
No.
We didn't sprinkle pixie dust on it.
Yeah, it was the first years. Yeah. I mean, this is now 11 years of
hard choices.
Yeah.
It's challenges.
Yep.
But
crying a lot.
I'm here and I did it.
Yeah. Yes.
And you can too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the cool part. And that's what I love about, what we put up here together, because the whole point was to just be able to sit and share stories with people and let people know who feel like I'm by myself. I don't know what to do. I don't know which direction to turn. I don't feel like I have any options. We always have options. They may not be easy, but we always have options. And if we can just trust and be bold and brave enough and have the courage to follow them, then it's going to pay off. Yeah. It always does.
Yeah, because you're doing it in him. He says, whatever you do in me to honor me, I'm going to honor you, and you're going to have the success.
So cool. So cool.
We got to have you back on, because I want to know everything. It's going to
grow more
after the big event.
After the big event.
Yeah.
I
love this.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds great. It's going to be the first of many. So
indeed.
So, first of many.
This is the bust the champagne on the side thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we should have some champagne.
The maiden voyage.
What's really funny is Steve, when I started negotiating, or when I brought the investor in and we started kind of like putting our proposal to the first handful of celebrities to see who we were going to bring in, he put a bottle of wine in the refrigerator. And he's like, don't drink the wine in the refrigerator. Because he said it's for a momentous occasion. And so I was like, what is he talking about? Like, what momentous occasion? Like, is something happening at work? Like, what has he got going on? And he wouldn't tell me.
It's like the bottle that Derek had on Grey's Anatomy for Meredith.
Well,
yeah.
it was for this event. Once we got the contracts back signed from our celebrity, he's like, now we can drink the wine.
Now we can drink the wine.
But
Oh
we did it.
man.
You did it. You did it. You did it.
Yeah.
And hey, we got to give a shout out to Steve, because Steve is the chapter 2 that
He is the chapter
occurred.
2.
He's the chapter 2 that
Steve!
occurred.
He's the chapter 2. He's the finale. He's
What's happening, Steve?
See, I'm waiting for mine. I'm waiting for mine.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he's coming. He's coming.
Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. He's amazing. He's my rock. He is my peace. He is my encourager. He's everything. He's amazing.
That's awesome. I have to commend you on something.
None of that would have happened had you not been brave enough to take that leap.
Yep.
Yes, that, and I have to commend you on this.
Okay.
Because women lose this. You did not lose your imagination. Your imagination is why you are where you are today.
That's right.
And I told my granddaughter that because I play with her toys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I said, you have a great imagination. Grandmommy, what's imagination? Just what you're doing. You're just sitting there playing with your toys, talking to yourself. But you're creating a world that, and because you didn't lose that with even having kids and being married, a lot of women lose that imagination. Girls have imagination. Yeah. We played with dolls. We played with Barbies. We played with whatever, Mm-hmm. But when you lose that, and then you have to go through a big life change, and even the change of your children going off to college and everything, and women are like, I don't know who I am. That is so familiar, and you didn't let that go. The weirdness that you were talking about, that's supposed to be this thing that you're like, people are looking at me crazy. It's like, that's what saved you.
That's the gift.
That was the gift. That is your Jesus gift.
Yeah. That's the gift.
That is your Jesus gift.
Because we're supposed to come like children. Why children? Because children know how to dream.
And trust. And trust.
They know how to dream. They don't get stuck in this work mode.
Right.
Yeah.
Work.
Having fun, finding fun and everything in life. And, like my family is funny because I was talking to my son, and he's the one who works at Pixar. And he's like, yeah, Mom, I'm in a, we always talk in movies.
Yeah.
You know how you say something and it's a quote from a movie or whatever. Yeah. And we're big on that. And my kids are big. We're Marvel, Disney, all that, right? And he's like, Mom, it's weird. I just realized, it's like, the Lord gave me a job where this is normal conversation. I literally evaluate movies, Disney movies, to find the different. And he's like, that's my life now. And this is the happiest dude on the planet. You know what I'm talking about? I'm like, this kid's got it down. He is. All my kids just dream, and I didn't let them that die out, Yeah. And that saved you, girl.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's awesome. And I can't wait to see, where it's all gonna go, because it's just getting started. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is just getting started, and it's
so cool. Oh yeah, we definitely got to have you back.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good.
Does it sound good? I think it sounds good.
It sounds good. Sounds good. After a very successful event in October.
Yeah. All right. I'm writing it down. Yes. October. Okay. Boom, boom.
So yeah, people, don't stop dreaming. Don't stop looking forward. Don't stop using your imagination, and don't let stuff get in your way. If you have a dream, go after that thing, and don't let anything stop you. Just keep going until you end up in it.
Yes, keep the kid inside.
In it.
Let it come out.
I actually just read this book. It was called Play, and I don't remember the author's name, but he was just talking about how important play is to everyone, children, adults, that as you grow up, you lose that playful ability, and that's when things start to go downhill. It's
Yeah.
like we have to keep that. We have to keep that. And that's one of the things in my life that I like to do. And it's hard. It is hard to find
Yeah.
people that want to play with you. But
Yeah.
I'm continuing to look for them because
Yeah.
I'm not getting off of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
like to have fun. I like to enjoy myself. And, I'm not going to sit here and be solemn just so I can fit in the group. Not going to happen.
yeah.
Like I told Steph, what's cool is you have your play people and they're your kids because we made them. So
Right.
they're crazy with us. So
Yeah.
that's
Yes,
fun.
thankfully.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being with us at
Thank
the
you.
beach house.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
And the next time we'll have
Pleasure.
champagne at the beach house.
We'll have the pina coladas in
Pina
the
colada.
margarita.
You
Yeah.
got see, I'm like,
I'm gonna have to get on Zach and tell him, you got to step it up, buddy. You got to step it up. You're supposed to bring us our drinks, and you didn't.
Didn't do it.
No cookies.
No cookies, no drink, no little tea sandwiches.
Hey, well, you know what'd be cool is like maybe the next show we do with Davina, I could fly out there since you
We
guys
need to have the beach retreat.
You guys are both in. Yeah, you guys are both in Texas.
Yeah, but we're like 5 hours apart.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
what's a couple of hours? What's a couple of hours?
Well, listen, maybe I need to have you both fly out and meet me at a comic convention so you can see what this world's all about.
Hey, that would be cool.
Oh, don't act up.
That would be cool.
I would love that.
You would love it. You would love it.
I would love that.
That would be awesome.
Well, until
Girl.
next time.
Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Hit that
Yes.
share button because, we all know somebody that needs to hear this. All right. So
Yes.
make sure you hit that.
And we're on the
subscribe and
other
share button.
platforms too.
Hit the like button.
Please.
And we will see you next time on the Beach House with Mo and Steph.
And Steph.